Prospect Capital is over 6 months ago, maybe 6 or 7 even months ago. And so in that last video, I told you all that I was no longer investing in Prospect Capital. I wasn't sending any more money into that particular stock. And I told you that I would allow my dividends to continue to reinvest, and that would be the only way that I would be dumping money into Prospect Capital. And since then, it's gone from bad to worse. Okay. All right. I believe at the time of that recording of my last Prospect Capital video, I was probably down around $70. Well, since then, that drop has more than doubled for my dividend portfolio. Okay. I believe in public right now, I have about here. Let me turn on my screen record so that we can capture this in real time. We'll do it live, right? All right, I'm opening up public now. I want to see where I am with Prospect Capital. Let's see. Where is it? It's here somewhere. Did I pass it? I passed it. There it is. So I have 58, almost 59 shares of Prospect Capital. You can see that I'm down $152. That's nearly half. I am down half since half of my investment at the time of this recording. And right now, that's only yielding me, let's see, my last dividend payout was $2.61, right? So at that price point, technically right now, it's buying me almost one share a month since Prospect Capital has dropped so much in terms of price stock evaluation. But I want to focus on something else really quickly. You see here, I'm going to show you the contrasting because it all matters. It differs in where you go, right? All information is not the same. For example, on public, they have a rating list just like Stock Analysis does. And right here, it says that it's a 42% strong buy, 42% hold. But if you go to Stock Analysis and you look up Prospect Capital, they have a rating of sell, right? A buy rating of sell. They're telling you should sell all your shares. All right. And so the reason that I'm pointing that out is because not all information is the same, you all. All right. Not all information is the same. Pay attention to what's happening with the company. Pay attention to what's happening with the stocks. And then also pay attention to what's happening with that dividend. I'm going to read this really quickly. They just had their earnings report yesterday. I did not delve deep into the earnings report. I'm just going to read a quick synopsis of what happened. Prospect Capital Corporation announced its Q4 2025 earnings, reporting an earnings per share of 17 cents, that which surpassed the analyst forecast of 13 cents by 30%. However, the company fell short on revenue, posting $166 million against a projected $171 million. Okay. And so what I want to focus on for this video, again, this is going to be really quick. What I really want to focus on this video is the difference between the stock share price being okay and being secure, and the company itself being secure. Let me make this very clear. Prospect Capital is not in danger as of the time of recording of this video. Prospect Capital is not in danger of going out of business. They are not in danger of going bankrupt. They're actually very secure with the types of debt that they have been lending out, and the type of debt that they have been taking on. And because they've started to turn around the way that they approach debt and secure debt with their customers and those first liens, they have secured their business. They're pretty safe right now in terms of them being secure for the future and whether or not they're going out of business or they're going belly up or they're going bankrupt, right? So they're not in danger of going bankrupt. However, that does not mean that the stock price itself will not be affected by what's happening with the business. That does not mean that we will not see further dividend drops or share dilution, right? Share dilution, for those of you that don't know, is pretty much when the company comes in and something happens and they say, all right, the shares that you had, the 1,000 shares that you had, it's not really 1,000 shares anymore. We're going to dilute those shares. Now those shares are really only worth about 900, right? Because we've put more. We've put more shares. We've thrown more shares into the pool. So the shares that you had were not worth what they are now because there's more shares in there, right? And anytime you add more shares to the pie, to the pizza pie, then all of a sudden the shares that you had aren't they're not as enticing as they were before, right? Share dilution. So going forward, it does not mean just because the company is stable, just because the company is not going bankrupt, it does not mean that the stock itself will not see any further decline, or that does not mean that the dividends will not be impacted by what's happening with the company. We have already seen Prospect Capital drop from 11, I believe it was 11 cents or 14 cents per share that they were paying out monthly. And then it dropped down to 11 cents, I believe. Then it dropped down to 8 cents per share that they were paying out. Then it dropped again down to 6 cents per share, all the way down to now they are only paying out 4.5 cents per share that you own of Prospect Capital. So listen, with all of those trends, with all of those dips, with all of those drops in the dividend payout, there's no way I can come on here and tell y'all, hey, yeah, even though Prospect Capital has dipped below $3 a share, I think y'all should go load the boat. There's no way I can tell y'all that. I cannot in full confidence come out here and tell y'all to go buy up a bunch of shares of PSEG just because it's dropped below $3. Yes, that price is very enticing. But if you're paying attention to the business, the fundamentals, what's happening with these shares and what's happening with the dividends and the share dilution, you're seeing all the red flags. They're right there in front of your face. All you got to do is pay attention. Now, if you are one of the people who like to live life on the edge and you want to take risks, then go ahead, by all means. But just understand that it is a risk and a high risk that you are taking by continuing to invest and dump money into Prospect Capital. Let me go quickly to stock analysis. I got them pulled up right here. Okay. You can see it right now. Price is sitting at $2.90 per share. And if you just click on the month, 16%, they are down, right? Year to date, they're down 32%. On the 1 year chart, they're down 41%. 5 years, they are down 43%. So if you have been invested in Prospect Capital over the course of the last 5 years, you have no doubt lost money. Now, I know what you all are thinking. What about the dividends, the monthly dividends? It doesn't account for the monthly dividends. In my last video, I told you all that I was still up. When I calculated all the dividends I had been paid out from that portfolio, I was still up. That's no longer the case. Okay, that is no longer the case. All right, I am officially eating out of the trash. Okay, this is Prospect Capital has crossed over into dumpster fire territory. It is a stock that is suffering, and has been considered now. It is in trash territory now. Okay, this is the junkyard territory of stocks, if we're being honest. And so I know that's something that a lot of you may not want to hear, but I got to be honest, y'all. That's what I'm here for. I'm not going to sugarcoat anything for y'all. The financials, listen, everything about this says that there's no way right now that we should be investing in Prospect Capital for the dividends because their stock is just not in a really good place. It's not in a good place. Forecasts, I told you, boom, sell. They're telling you to sell it right now. They're telling you to sell it right now. The price target has dropped all the way down to $3, y'all, which, I mean, is 10 cents shy of what it is right now. So listen, the dividends is up. You see that dividend yield is up to 18%. But let me tell you something, what happens with the dividends. When the share price of the stock drops so significantly, what ends up happening is the yield goes up. As the share price of the stock drops, the dividend yield goes up. Why is that? Well, it's because they haven't changed yet. They haven't changed the payout of the dividend. So if the payout of the dividend doesn't change and they're still paying out 4.5 cents per share, but the share price is dropping, that causes the yield to increase. That causes the yield to increase because they're saying, all right, we're paying out a bigger percentage of what the actual share price is because the share price is continuing to decline. So that's how you get a yield of 18.62%. The yield looks huge, right? But if you look at that dividend growth, it's negative 20%, y'all. I mean, let's drop all the way down here to the dividend chart itself. Boom. You look at it, you look at the last since, what is this? This is January of 2020. So the last 5 years. Look at this 5-year chart. It dropped from 6 cents a share down to 4.5 at the end of 2024. And since then, it has been at that same rate. It has been there, sitting there at that dividend rate since the drop. Can they bounce back? I don't know. Will they bounce back? No one has a crystal no one has a crystal ball, so we don't know. But do I feel comfortable as an investor continue to invest in Prospect Capital, knowing what I know about their share dilution, what's happened in the past, their history with dividend payouts, and what's happening with the company? No, I do not. No, I do not. And for me, it doesn't make any sense for me to sell my shares now. It doesn't. It just doesn't. I consider this to be the bottom. Prospect Capital is cooked. They're cooked. Okay. And I consider this $2.90. I consider this to be the bottom. So if I consider this to be the bottom, it makes no sense for me to sell my shares at the bottom. Besides, I'm only down in this particular portfolio. I have them in 2 portfolios, but in this particular portfolio, my dividend only portfolio, I'm down $157. Y'all saw what it was. So am I going to cry about $157? No. Am I going to sell? Does it make sense to sell at this point? For me, no. It does not make logical sense. And so if you're looking at Prospect Capital as a possible investment, I would just advise you or encourage you to take a look around the stock market at other potential dividend plays, such as AGNC. I would feel much better or much more comfortable investing in AGNC, which is under $10 a share right now, than I would investing in Prospect Capital. Honestly. Yes, I understand there's a $7 to $6 difference in, the share price, but I would honestly feel a lot more comfortable investing in that AGNC than I would Prospect Capital. I just would. So right now, you all evaluate this for yourselves and for your own portfolio. For those of you who are wondering, because I know I got a comment on my YouTube channel saying Prospect Capital just dropped below $3. I know, y'all. I know. I saw it. And for me, that is not a trigger for me to buy more. Okay. It's too many concerns for me to sleep comfortable at night knowing that I'm dumping a bunch of money into Prospect Capital, even at this price point. All right. But you all let me know what you're doing down in the comments. Drop a comment down below. I appreciate each and every one of you for watching. Drop a comment, y'all. Later.